After they had taken enough pictures of the breathtaking sight, they took a ladder further up until they arrived at the river behind the waterfall. Y and S's cousin began to wade in the water, and D sat down on the rocks beside it to write. I don't know what beauty is anymore. I don't know what it is for. They tell me their city is beautiful and point at giant towers. I'm inclined to believe them and follow them through the noise for hours, until the beauty devours what's left of my senses, and I just become numb. My love is a fox in the city. I am a fox in the city. You saw me last night and pitied my looks, even though I feel alright. I admit I look sad, cowering next to that trash can, but it isn't that bad. I do what I can to get by, and so far it's not going too bad. Although sometimes I do seem to forget. There is a vulture living close to my park, responsible for most of the times my life turns dark. It's a heron that lives by a lake close to where I stay. And whenever I see it, my life turns grey. I feel hounded and sad, but I will persevere I will keep barking. I am still here, in the hopes that the man who once was my master might become my friend again. Might see me as more than just an illusion, and will be able to love again. I am convinced that I'll look healthier then. But if he does, will you help him nourish me? Or are you also one of those that can't see love, that can't see me? He was ripped out of his thoughts by the sounds of his companions calling him back, and so he waded through the streams, trying to catch up with them without being swallowed and sucked up into the waterfall. After a steep climb back down, they ended up downstream again, where they got in the car in order to drive back to the motel. When they pulled up to the wooden buildings behind the red sign, Y leaned over to D and said, "Let's give them some time to freshen up." They walked to the end of the parking lot in order to wander further into the forest, but they were soon stopped by a fence. D sat down on a tree stump, and Y began to talk about his grandparents' house, which was nearby and which they had originally planned to stay at, since the old couple was currently on vacation in England. But not only had Y not been sure whether he still had the key he had used when he had lived there with them. When he had called at the gate earlier, he had been asked for some kind of PIN number he did not have. "You never told me they live in a gated community," D said, and Y began to describe how beautiful and expensive their house had been. "They have a jacuzzi there. It would be so nice if we could stay there just for some time." D mentioned the article about the high number of local heroin addicts he had read earlier, and Y began to tell him about his grandfather, who was working in that field. "There are 300 people over there that are heroin addicts that are going to him, and he gets calls every day of more people who would like to join, but he can't take them because he's only allowed to take 100 legally. So what that means is, think about how many heroin addicts are here. It's a pretty fucked up place if you think about it." D gave him a critical look and remarked, "So he lives in his gated community there and gives to some people who can afford it the substitute for heroin, who are living out there beyond the walls of his..." "Oh, come on!" Y yelled, and then impersonated D with an overly pretentious tone. "It's not beyond the walls of his safe haven. He interacts with the regular people who are suffering from the injustice of the system." "I didn't..." "You're putting words into my mouth."